Hey everyone, welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host, Nitin Bajaj, and joining me today is Sharmin Ali. Sharmin, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much, Nitin. Glad to be here.
Pleasure is all ours. So let's start with who is Sharmin?
Oh, well, Charmin is just another individual, Indian, brown, Muslim, all things, all things controversial. But yes, first and foremost, Charmin is the founder of InStoried, a very young startup which has decided to get both techies and marketers together to build something phenomenal. I'm on a mission, and I have a very clear roadmap to fulfill it. So I am on that mission and driven, and yeah, just going.
Just going with the flow, going with a vengeance. Let's
Ah, great question. Vengeance, yes. I think every woman is on a mission. Yeah, vengeance to prove a point to men out there
and
that
rightly
coming.
so. Yes. So let's talk about your mission a little more, but let's play a game before that. Right? This is a
Sure.
one-word game, underrated or overrated, about certain things that impact us as a community. Right? So when you're ready, we'll get started.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
All right, let's start with NFTs.
Overrated.
Okay. Uh,
Absolutely overrated.
what about inflation?
Underrated.
Okay. Startup valuations?
I hate to say this, but yes, they are overrated.
Okay. Stock market prices?
Um, Overrated.
Okay. DEI?
Underrated. Okay.
Okay. Real estate prices?
Uh, because I haven't invested in one yet, so I'll say underrated.
Okay. Uh, what about metaverse?
Overrated, please. Overrated, yes.
Okay. The great resignation?
ah, Underrated.
Okay. And then finally, cash.
Underrated. Yes. We need to have more liquid cash in the bank. So, yes, underrated.
Thanks for playing along. That was a lot of fun. Now let's talk about something closer to you. Tell us more about InStoried. What is the mission and the vision? And then we'll talk a little more about some of the impact and the work you're doing.
Right. So, this is one thing that I just love talking about. It's
Mhm.
like you wake me up at 3 a.m. in the morning and ask me what InStory it is, and I will just go on and on and on. Before I explain what InStory it is, there has to be a little bit of a backstory to it,
Mhm.
for our viewers to understand and help them put things into perspective. So first of all, content is something which is really, really close to my heart. I've written two books, and I've had a video content based startup before this. So I think one thing that I've always known is that good quality content is king. Needless to say that, right? I mean, with all the OTT platforms and with all the marketing communication that people have invested in around the world. So I think, and it's highly underrated also. One thing that I'd always known is that good quality content is king, and good quality content is here to sustain. Be it text, be it videos, be it any other form of content, there has to be a you know a, the content has to be good enough in order to be able to resonate with your audiences. I think the best thing for us was that the timing was perfect. um, we were able to identify a huge opportunity in this adversity. I'm talking about COVID.
Mhm.
When all of the brick and mortar stores were shutting down because they were witnessing very few footfalls. The only option that all of these people had in order to be able to sell better was to move online. And how do you sell better online? By creating more engaging content in order to connect better with your audiences. Otherwise, you wouldn't get those clicks. So that's when we understood that in order for us to be able to help people do so, we are human beings. We are all emotional people. we end up making decisions which most of the times do not make sense because they're not driven by logic, they're driven by emotions.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have an iPhone or I wouldn't have a Mac, right? I mean, I would just invest in something much cheaper. So as a result of which, what we thought is that most of the communication that goes out there, I'm talking about written communication. It is all driven by intuition. There is no such you know tech-driven approach which can help you gauge what is the empathy quotient, what is the emotional quotient of your content. So, as a result of which, we thought that why not use technology, a very data-driven, scalable, repeatable approach using AI, by which all of the marketers out there would not be flying blind anymore. They would have a tech-driven approach to help them measure what is the empathy quotient of their content, and also give them some odd recommendations using which they'd be able to create better content.
Mhm.
So that was the idea. That was the thought process, and yes, that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to help make people gauge the empathy quotient of their content, make communication seamless, be it short form, be it long form, and we offer multiple different things. It's a very end-to-end driven platform, starting from grammar to spelling to tone to empathy, to recommendations, to now even content generation. And the best part is that just feed in a few keywords, and the tool would just read your mind. So having said that, one last bit here is that we are not trying to replace the human mind. We are a writing assistant to help you make your content generation exercise much more productive, more efficient, seamless, and help you from preventing and prevent you from going blind.
Yeah, I love the part where it's more an efficiency and productivity too, and it helps augment your thoughts. And there are times as a content creator myself, there are times when you hit that block, right, where you're not able to, you wish that someone understood you and helped you just take where you're stuck and kind of move forward from there. So I love that part. And I know the last part of generating the content is something that's relatively new to your platform. So that's really exciting. Tell us more about the size and scale, and more importantly, the impact your platform has created so far.
Great question. So we have about 600,000 plus B2C users,
Mhm.
because we recently went B2C
Correct.
about 3 months ago. And in this financial year, we want to hit at least 5 million plus users. That is from a B2C perspective.
Mhm.
From a B2B side of things, we have about 60 odd customers so
Mhm.
far, and we've just entered the US market. I think the biggest impact that has been there, based on the feedback that we've got from our existing set of customers, is that they were able to witness a huge upside in their incoming leads for post.
Mhm.
They have seen a huge upside, almost 30% plus in
Wow.
less than 6 months, which basically is validating the fact
Mhm.
that empathy is the most important when you're trying to connect with your
Mhm.
customers, because if you're getting more leads per post,
Mhm.
if there is more engagement, uh, you know and if you are using a tool, it just makes the whole assumption more much stronger, that yes, your content communication has to be driven by empathy, there, that you have to be able to gauge it better. And another thing that we've heard is that their productivity levels have increased by almost 20 to 30%,
Wow.
which is again amazing, because then earlier they would consume about like 5 to 6 hours in their whole editing cycle, but now they are consuming 30% lesser time, which is nice.
Mm.
So all of this has directly impacted their ROIs as well.
Those are some huge and impressive numbers. So congratulations on that. And I can see as you scale and as you grow, those numbers will also grow along with it. So that's pretty impressive. So as you're going and conquering new geographies, new markets, new introducing new features. What's the one big challenge you're facing as an entrepreneur, but also as a business?
Right. So, I think for any entrepreneur, for any business, the first challenge is always team, because it's not a one-man show, right? Yes, I'm the founder. I started it, but I cannot take credit for, where we are today. This wouldn't have been possible without a phenomenal team. So yes, we have a very strong leadership team, because these are the founding members. These are the guys who essentially started. We have a great, I have a great co-founder and CTO, then a phenomenal marketing head and, great salespeople on board. But I think as you expand into multiple geographies, like for example, now we are expanding into Dubai and, we have a great channel partner there. So even securing that channel partnership took me about 3 months, because because these guys will not work with you unless and until you know what you're doing and you have a clear roadmap in place. So getting those channel partnerships, then getting salespeople there, and then having that roadmap, having that plan, all of these things are part of your vision to expand in a particular geography. So I think these are big challenges, of course. Next big challenge is, of course, funding, right? I think there has to be enough funds. Either you have a constant influx of money through, your whole sales cycle, or you have enough money in the bank to be able to, continuously keep expanding, marketing, hiring people. Because yes, in India, you can get as in like you if you are a very India focused company, uh, cheap labor in India, but unfortunately, we are not an India focused company. We are, for us, US is the main market. So their labor is not that cheap. So, and, since we are a tech driven product, for us, it definitely took us time to, get that whole sales engine running. So we had to be able to raise funds, but luckily we were able to raise funds during COVID, which was a plus. We were able to raise almost 10 million plus. So yeah, I think these two things primarily, team and raising money. These are the two big challenges for any founder, for any entrepreneur.
True. On the flip side of challenges come opportunities. And as you're growing and scaling and with the right team and the right kind of funding, what's that one big opportunity that you're really excited about?
I think the market, right? Market is the biggest opportunity that, that any founder would want to chase. In fact, anyone who says that the tech that they've built is their biggest differentiator, I think they're probably not aware, because if I can build a phenomenal tech, there are companies which have come out of Ukraine, right? Which are equally fantastic. Anyone in, everyone out there can build something phenomenal, but it is not the tech that's the differentiator. I think the biggest differentiator is always the market that you're chasing. So if you know who your real customer is, and if you're able to identify the opportunity there, I think you're here to, sustain it. It cannot really be, just a copy product of what something's, of what someone's built. I hate to say this, but 90% of our competitors are just using GPT-3, in their content generation. And we were always very sure, my co-founder and I, that listen, we are not going to be another GPT-3 enabled, tech device. We are going to build our own, our own platform, something in-house, which would, have, which would be, empowered by our own team, by our own set of data points. So we were able to use about 30 million plus data points. And I think all of this happened because we were able to identify the opportunity that the market has to provide. There has to be a differentiator, and for us, the biggest entry barrier is that, our tech has been built completely in-house. So both the market and then followed by tech. So these two things. Yeah.
And kudos to you for standing your ground, because I know it cannot be easy to convince your investors that there is GPT-3 that most of your competitors are using, but you want to go this way. Right. So,
And you know what the best part is? I'm just gonna add this here. We were almost 18, 20 months into, as it into building InStory.
right.
And my investors would be like, sending me links that you guys are still building tech. Look at this company. There is another company that has just popped up, which is using GPT-3, and which is like raised 3-4 million. What are you guys doing? I'm like, patience. Wait. You will soon see the difference. And now, what has happened is that all of those guys actually produce the same set of results,
Hmm.
because their backend is actually the same. And then when our customers see the difference that our tool has to offer, the kind of
Hmm.
response that our tool gives, that's where I'm like, okay, look, this is the investment that we had done initially with our linguists, with our data scientists, and building this in-house. So yeah, we're here to sustain.
But you should you should take the credit for having that vision and standing your ground. That wouldn't that wasn't easy. So Sharmin, as you look back on your journey, whether it's just within Storied or further back in your career, is there a moment in time when things did not work out as you had expected and it ended up becoming a lesson learned or was just a flat out failure?
Oh, yes, multiple times. I think founder's life is about more of failures than successes.
True.
So yes, number of failures. Initially, of course, we were bootstrapped.
Hmm.
So at that point in time, raising money was of course the biggest challenge, right? So I had put in like almost $50,000 of my own money, because I think the only funding source initially that we had was my own savings. I would never ask for money from my parents. My
Hmm.
parents are pretty well off, but I know that they'd be like, you had an MBA offer, from an Ivy League university. You decided to say no to it. You decided to pursue this journey. So now figure your own shit out. That's my dad. So I was like, I know it's okay. I'll figure it out. So I mean, there were times when I ended up, pawning my gold jewelry
Hmm.
because, I needed funds. I ended up taking loans on my credit card. I ended up taking loans from my co-founder. I mean, later I found out that he took loans from his wife. I was like, okay, whatever, because I needed to get a visa to go to London
True.
to raise money and things like that. So all of these things have happened. I ended up breaking my PPF. I
Hmm.
come from a very middle class
Yeah.
family where parents are like, okay, no, invest that money into your PPF, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, why do I need to do that? But then, yeah, I did do it for a few years thanks to my dad. But then I ended up taking that money out to be able to pay salaries. So yeah, all of these things have done, and then there have been days when I didn't have money to pay my rent because I wasn't drawing any salary, for almost 10 months. But then after that, when we got the funding money that we did initially, first round, we raised about 500,000. So, I mean, a pre-seed sort of a thing. So then after that, things started, moving, and they were a little smoother than what happened initially. But yes, I think this is all part and parcel. And the biggest learning for me that has been there is that if I could sustain this, I think I can sustain anything. So and the best thing that happened to me is that I know that I'm someone who will not crack under pressure. Put me into I mean any kind of a situation, and I know that I will end up sustaining. I will figure my own way out. So that boost in confidence was amazing. So yeah, these things did happen. And now I am at a position where I feel that um, it's good to remain grounded. you
Hmm.
know um, I'm not sure if you want to keep what I'm going to say next, because it might be a little controversial, but then I am someone who loves being very, very candid. So success is like getting pregnant. Only
Hmm.
you know how many times
Yes.
you've been fucked to
Yeah.
get there. So yes, I think it is good to remain grounded, to remain humble, because money, it you have it today, you might not have it tomorrow. So yeah, I think it's good to respect people. It's especially the team. Be there for the team and remain humble. Yeah.
I think as I've gone through my own journey of having talked to several entrepreneurs, I've noticed there is a certain level of attitude that makes or breaks you, right?
Yeah.
Not every entrepreneur is made from the same fabric. And your experiences, but more importantly, your attitude to those experiences is
Right.
what sets you up for success. And as you were describing the ups and downs you had, not being able to pay rent, coming from a middle class background, or just even having debt, is so against how we are raised, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to put that in the background and focus on your vision and just continuing to work and build on that is, to me, a huge sign of you having that right mindset, that balance, and that ability to focus on what's important at that given space and time. So again, congrats and kudos to you. I know it's some bit, some parts of this you're just is innate to you, but a
Yeah.
lot of that comes with being able to control and just being able to focus on the right things. So it's pretty amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's move into my favorite part of the show,
Hmm.
which is the one line life lessons. These are lessons that either you have come up with or you have come to adopt. And we love this section because it gives our audience a way to just quickly get to actions, right,
Hmm.
from your learnings. So we'd love to hear a few one-line life lessons from you.
So, yes, there are multiple of them, especially based on my entrepreneurial, journey so far. So I think number one is that do not just start a company because you want to get rich,
Mhm.
because I have actually heard many people, they're like, okay, how do I have a company worth, 700 crores? I'm like, uh-oh, okay, is that the starting motivation? No. Because building a startup for the sake of money is like getting married for the sex. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Don't do that. You don't need to have, a marriage certificate in order to have sex. So, go play around if you want to play, but build a company because you really want to make an impact.
Mhm.
So, that is the starting point. Wherein you want to actually solve a problem, you want to create a difference, you want to make a dent in the universe. So have that as your starting point. So number one. Number two is that it's okay to not be the best in what you do. I don't have a degree from Harvard or an IIM or an IIT, but it is very important to have a stellar starting team, because they are the ones who will take your dream forward.
Sure.
So tag along with the right set of people. Do not compromise on that, no matter how much you have to invest in them.
Mhm.
But do whatever it takes to get the right people on board. Number three is that um, be humble, be grounded. I always say this, because success is just it's more of a notion. It's
Mhm.
like, how do you handle it, how you take it.
Sure.
I mean, for me, no matter how much money I make tomorrow, I want to keep like 1% of it for myself. The remaining, I just want to give it away, because I want to keep building startups. So be humble, respect the people that you work with, and be empathetic and honest with with those people. And lastly, karma is a bitch. Don't mess with people. It always comes back around and bites you in places you don't want to be bitten. So be nice. Yeah. My four learnings in life.
I love those, Sharmin, and I love the candor. behind it, right? That these are not just some things you say for saying. These are really some things that you have come to adopt. And that's the true spirit of these one-line life lessons. So thank you for sharing those. And for our audience, we have an entire collection at onelifelessons.com and wherever you socialize digitally. So, Sharmin, once again, thank you for making the time and sharing your story with us. We wish you all the future success and would love to bring you back on and talk more about more accomplishments that you and your team have achieved. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nitin.